Book 2, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for a book update. So, I did decide to just this morning to DNF the book. I think it's My Death, or no, that's the Lisa Tuttle book. Death, I do not remember what it's called, but I did DNF a book. It was actually, the only reason I decided to check it out actually is because I'm trying out the Goodreads challenges. And I know a lot of people take issue with that because it's forcing you to only read. You can't just read anything that applies to the categories. It has to be what's on their list, which is connected to Amazon. I know a lot of people take issue with Amazon, but I thought it'd be but for me personally, I thought it'd be kind of fun to try some books, and this one just didn't work for me. I mean, funnily enough, because there's no, you can't, on Goodreads, you can't just mark it as a DNF. You can't mark it like you can on Storygraph. On Storygraph, you can still have you can put on the did not finish section. So either you leave the book unfinished on your Goodreads. Unless, now, like I said, I can, if I hadn't got very far in it, I would have just took it off my list. But I got pretty far into the book, and as I said on my explanation for DNFing it, I felt like listening to it on audiobook made it allow me to get through it, read a lot more of it, because I wasn't physically reading it. I'm just listening to it. So I think that kind of helped me give it more time. And finally I was thinking about how a lot of people say, if you're not into a book, then just DNF it. And I decided to DNF it. And I didn't spend money. I got it via Libby. So, I wish I could remember what it's called. I cannot believe that wasn't smart. I should have remembered what the book was called. I made a mental note to check and see what the book was called. But it's for Hispanic heritage. And like I said, because you can't mark it as a did not finish. You have to say you finished it even though you didn't. Unless I decide to take it off. Which, I mean, like I said, I guess I could have done that, but I don't do that unless I didn't get very far into it. If I didn't get very far into it, then I will take it off my list on Goodreads. So it does show that I finished it, and it does technically count, so it's a bit of a cheat. But I mean, the Goodreads police isn't gonna get me for that. They're not gonna know. Of course, it's the internet. You never know on here. People could easily find out stuff. But, so yeah, it counts, technically. I do have another book waiting. It's still not here. It's still on 18 weeks to go before I get it. But I think it's showing where I am next in line. It is showing that. I think that's making progress. So hopefully it's not going to do like what the sequel to Legendborn did, where it showed I was making progress, but then all of a sudden it disappeared from Libby. I was like, oh, we don't have it anymore. So I don't know if I'll ever finish that trilogy. Actually, I think it's a series because I think there's a 4th book now. So I don't know if I'll ever finish that. Maybe I will someday. Anyway, but also I am currently reading, well, let me talk about this book first because I don't have a lot to say about this book anyway, but I did start my, A History of Japan by R.H.P. Mason and J.D. Kager. It's a revised edition. I think I read in the, the little introductions and prefaces that this originally was I think it said Australian. It was originally published in Australia. Let me see trying to. Yeah, it was originally published in Australia in 1972. And then it was and since then it has been rewritten. This is a revised edition. So it's just basically a history of Japan, as the title says. And I've only read the first first 3 chapters. I stopped at chapter 4. And it's kind of just the background and how, like, they kind of, China was Japan's inspiration on how they should run their government. And kind of the different, the first couple of time periods in Japan, and talking about the location. So, like I said, I don't have a lot to say about it yet. I'm just slowly going through it. And, I figured read this first before I read any fiction. But we will see. I mean, the chapters are short, so that kind of helps. But, I always struggle with, like, it's not that I'm not interested, but when it's just straight up telling me facts, then I might kind of struggle with reading it, because it's just, like, giving me the information and not in a fun storytelling kind of way. I mean, I want to know about this stuff, but, but I gotta admit, it's kind of hard to, when you're just reading the information, if it's not done in a, like I said, in a fun way, in an entertaining way. So, I'm going through this slowly. Like I said, I might pick some other, like, some of my fiction books up, or what I might, and just put this one aside, and we'll see. So now the book I have a lot more to say is, I am reading our own Katie Lumsden from Books and Things. Her book, her sophomore novel, The Trouble with Miss Montgomery Hurst, which sadly does not have a U.S. publisher, so I ended up ordering this online. Well, actually, no, I didn't order it. It was a gift from Terry. I had asked her, she asked me if there was anything particular I wanted for Christmas, any specifics, and this was the one that I said was a definite. So I was very happy about that she got me this. As I already stated in my, when I told you guys what I got for Christmas. So I am reading it and making a lot of progress. Which I feel kind of bad because I still haven't made a lot of progress on the Pillow book. Which I am reading that. If Terry, you catch this video, I am reading that. I'm just reading through it slowly. But in case you have not, if you're not familiar with her channel and her stories like this, her first book was the Secrets of Heartwood Hall, which was kind of a gothic mystery, like, is there a ghost or not? Well, this one is more of a, kind of a Jane Austen-esque type story, where you have this community of different classes that live in this big community, and one of their members has decided to get married outside of the community, has found a wife outside the community, and it turns out that woman, Miss Roberts, now Miss Hurst, she is a widow, or either a widow or divorced, and I think she's a widow, and she has 3 kids. So this is a big deal for this community. They're all like, oh my god, we need to know about this woman. He invited an outsider into our community. We don't like that. I mean, not everybody's like that, but you either have the people that are super curious, or the people that don't like that he married an outsider, but are also curious. I think that's how you divide amongst this community of people. And of course you have, like, one of our main characters one of our main families is the Ashpoint family. And Mr. Ashpoint has a brewery, so he's looked down upon because he's a self-made man. He has a brewery for a business, and there are a lot of people that look down on him. And Amelia, his daughter Amelia, he's trying to get her to find a husband, get married, which, that's what you do. But it turns out that she is in love with someone. She's in love with Clara McNeil. So she, but of course, being I think the 1800s, let's see, does it say where is it? Okay, I don't see where, it doesn't say, but I guess I'm assuming the 1700s or 1800s. I guess if it's Elizabeth Gaskell and Jane Austen, it's 1700s maybe. Or no, maybe I'm sorry, I don't. It's probably the 1800s. I don't. But being of course gay, is not like that's weird to people. And it's like, oh no, something's wrong with you, kind of thing. Which is and like but I think it's probably worse back then. And so she's having to keep her relationship with Clara a secret. And then you have her brother Diggory, who is in love with Lady Rose, who just came out in society. He's eager to marry. They're spending a lot of time together, and he wants to marry her. But like I said, the Ashpoint family is of a lower class. They are, and probably like middle class, I guess they would be. But Rose, because Rose does love Diggory and wants to marry him and everything, because when he finally proposes to her, she's like, oh yes, definitely, I want to marry you. But her brother, her much older brother, Lord Sawbridge, stands in the way, and he's an ass. I can't stand. He is such a jerk. He is such a pig. Like, you find out that he has a woman that he flirts with that is from a poor class, and I think she has kids and everything, and she really has a crush on him, on Sawbridge, but he doesn't like her. He's like, you're beneath me, but he still flirts with her because it's fun, because they can do stuff. And he's a ladies' man, basically. And Diggory is like, dude, what is wrong with you? That's not right. That's messed up. How dare you? And Sawbridge is like, I thought you'd be impressed. You think it's cool I have this beautiful woman to to hook up with. So Diggory has is a better person than Sawbridge. And Sawbridge he bullies his sister, and he tells Diggory, he told him in the beginning that, don't even try to get with my sister. Don't try to be friends with her or anything, because my parents are never going to let the two of you get married. You're beneath me, And later, when it doesn't work with Diggory, he loses Diggory as a friend because Diggory realizes, oh, this guy is a jerk. This guy's an ass. He tries to manipulate his sister and is like, why would he love you? He doesn't really love you. No one could ever love you. And I cannot stand him. Like, I hate him. If I was a character to hate, he would be it. He would be like, I just can't. Like, Miss Elton, another character who's very much a snob, and is the mother of Felicia, who is kind of a peer to Amelia and Clara, but they don't get along. Her mom is such a snob, but she's tolerable. In my opinion, she's tolerable because she's not a bully. She doesn't get her way all the time, and she's trying to get Felicia to marry this Sir Frederick, but something he tells me, Sir Frederick is not interested in Felicia that way, and I think Felicia is actually into her music teacher, and that he's into her. But of course they can't do any. But it's the whole class thing is in the way, and so Felicia, she's meanwhile, her dad is kind of pressing this Major Alderton on her, trying to get her to get with him because he's, the dad likes him better than Sir Frederick, or at least thinks that she has a better chance with Major Alderton than Sir Frederick. I mean, Sir Frederick hasn't even come to call Felicia. The only time they interact is if they get invited to dinner parties together, if they're at dinner parties together. Like, in fact, her mom, Miss Elton, even hosted a dinner party, inviting him with the pretense of getting him to interact with her daughter, but he doesn't really react with her at all. He just spends more time talking to Amelia. But like I said, I don't think she's interested in either guy, but she's like, well, whatever mom and dad say, which I imagine is kind of a little, even today, I think that there are still kids that are like, whatever my parents say, even when you're an adult. You know, you like, I still kind of care what my mom thinks, and feel and worry about her wanting, to not disappoint her or anything like that. But of course it's a lot worse. It would obviously be a lot worse because, especially being a daughter, and you don't have a lot of power. You have to get married. And actually, like, even though Felicia is a mean girl to Clara and Amelia, I kind of feel bad for her. I pity her because it's not entirely her fault. I mean, yeah, she has free will, makes her own choices, but her mom's got her claws in her, and she wants to please her mom, and so, like, I kind of feel bad for her. I don't think she's entirely a mean, like, I think she's a mean girl, but she's not as, like, she doesn't have a lot of, like, control in her life. I mean, everybody has a story, and what's great so far is, and what I love about multi-perspective stories is that you get all sides of the story. That's why I'm definitely a firm believer in multiple perspectives. I mean, I understand why some people don't like them because it can be very confusing, especially when an author has so many characters. And sometimes people will occasionally throw in a perspective of a character that is such a small character, or like a minor character that's going to get killed off or something. But it shows all sides of the story. You really understand, like, how everybody thinks and feels, and that not everything is black and white. Although now, it's actually, like, as I remember Katie saying when she talked about her book, that it's not about the Hursts. It is about the people's response to them and their presence, because you do get hints on the new Miss Montgomery Hurst, and the characters interact with her, of course, but you don't really know a lot about her as a person. You just get hints, and you can probably by the end of the story probably piece it all together. And actually, even though I have not read the book yet, it kind of makes me think of The Tenant of Wildfield Hall and the premise of that. I mean, like I said, I haven't read the book, but from what I know about it, it's a woman who leaves her husband, but the people don't know about it. The people at this play in the community, or in this place, wherever, don't know what happened. And the main character is very intrigued with this woman. So I think it made me think of that, even though I've not read the book yet. But I am really enjoying this. This is really fun, a really quick read. I'm getting, it's just so amusing and entertaining and very relaxing, even though there are times when I get very angry at characters, like, Sawbridge, for instance, or, and roll my eyes at people like Miss Elton. But I feel so bad for Amelia, of course, because she's in love with Clara, but she can't express it. The two of them can't, her and Clara, they can't be together, because, of course, it'd be like, oh, something's wrong with you. You shouldn't. You're weird, and they would be ostracized by the community. I mean, they would be probably happy together, but they would still be, they would have each other, but it would, it wouldn't sustain them completely. I mean, they would still feel that ostracization and the isolation of it. And then if and it would just be the two of them. And of course, they can't have kids unless they adopt, because, they can't make them. So I don't know how this is going to turn out. I mean, I'm trusting Katie, because, I mean, the ending was good, and her Secrets of Heartwood Hall, I was satisfied with that ending, so I'm going to trust that this ending is going to have a happy ending. And she was inspired by Jane Austen in Elizabeth Gaskell, so I'm assuming, like I said, I'm guessing it's going to have a good, satisfying, happy ending, hopefully. And that the people that deserve their comeuppance will get them. Or Sawbridge kind of particularly comes to mind. But I don't know, like, who is Felicia? I'm curious who Felicia's gonna end up with. Who she's gonna marry. Like I said, I'm rooting for her and Brissette, Michelle Brissette, because I'm thinking that the two of them like each other. But her mom's not gonna be happy with that if the two of them got together, because he's a music teacher, so he's not rich. He's not of their class. But the two of them, Sawbridge and Miss Elton, and they're constantly judging people. I'm like, you're beneath me. Oh, you shouldn't be with that person because they're not one of us. Which, I mean, fortunately that's how it was back then. But yeah, I'm having fun with this. Like I said, if you end up being interested in like what I have to say and are interested in this book, yeah, there is Amazon, of course, but I know a lot of people don't like rely on Amazon anymore because, people have issues with them and their company and them being a conglomerate. And but I believe Katie mentioned Blackwell's is a good place. And maybe if I remember, I will share once I upload this video, I will link her channel. Will be the next channel that I link to, so that maybe you can look at her channel and get more information if you're interested in the book and getting it. Because like I said, it has not come to the US. And the only way you can buy it is if you get on Amazon or someplace like Blackwell's or but yeah, I'm really liking this. In fact, I might like this one better than Secrets of Heartwood Hall. I mean, I love Secrets of Heartwood Hall. It's great. I do want to reread that one at some point, but I'm really liking this one. But I mean, this would have been, great to read, even though it's not Jane Austen adjacent. It would be it would have been good to read during that time, and I had intended to. I thought about doing that, but then I never got around to it. So finally have. And I'm glad to say I've gotten it in before the end of the year. Because I'll get books, I try to make sure I get to them before the end of the year, but then I never do. Okay, time to show you what I recently purchased. Okay. So let's see. Okay, well first, so this is the second book in the Paul Dark series. So the first time I heard about the series was actually through Terry. And she really enjoyed it. She was watching the show when I think she read the books too. And it was kind of in the back of my mind as a possibility. And no, I didn't know who wrote it or anything like that, but I ended up seeing, I don't know if you guys remember, but I did a thrift haul, bookstore thrift store haul. I think I hauled them. When I went to one of the times I was visiting my sister, she had a thrift store near her where they sell books, and I bought one of the books, The Twisted Sword, I think it's called. And the problem is in the middle of the series at the time, I was like, it's in the middle of the series, so I'm just gonna let this go, and because I don't know if I'll ever get into the series. And then, just recently, a couple weeks ago, a week ago or so, my parents started watching the show. And he got me interested again. Fortunately, it was one of these things where my mom was like, why'd you get rid of that book? Why didn't you keep it, just buy it? But at the time, I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to read it. I assumed I wasn't going to pursue that series. So I let it go, and I think because she just doesn't want me constantly spending money, because there's 12 books in the series. She doesn't want me to have to, constantly buy every single book one at a time over a period of time. She, wants to make sure I have them all and I don't keep spending money and buying them. So it turns out the bookstore does have quite a few. And I don't want to get, because I had two other books that weren't part of the series I wanted to get, so I got those instead and just got book 2 of the series. And because I didn't have book 1 at the Outpost bookshop, and I looked and my mom was like, well, you better go buy it soon so you can get started reading it. And so I bought I looked on Amazon first, and then I went on Thrift Books. and it was cheaper on Thrift Books, so I got that. And I also got book 3 off of Thrift Books as well, and then I got book 3 of the series, the 6 Tutor Queen series by Alison Weir. Figure I may as well get that as well. And so I got that one, and so I have those coming, those 3 books coming, but this is book 2, and I don't know a lot of, like, this is set in Cornwall, and our main character, Ross Poldark, was a soldier. He's come home. The woman he was in love with has married someone else because she's thinking he died. Comes back, and he crosses paths with the woman that this title refers to. Oh, okay, so actually, the back description kind of, so she was a miner's daughter, and he rescued her from the fairground rabble, and at some point they get married. And one that they didn't like each other, they fall in love over time, but of course, he was hung up on his previous love. And so in the second book, it's her perspective, I guess. So I'm guessing it's going to start how the first book started, but then we're going to, which it's probably good that I got book 2 because I can get, book 3 as well, because that way I can jump right into it. Because these are basically, this one might just be a retelling of book 1, but from her perspective. It is called, refers to her name as the title, so that's what I'm thinking. But I'm at the moment, I'm still excited to read that series. Okay, so the next 2, I got another bookmark from them. And I like this one because it's a little stiffer. Because some of their bookmarks are stiffer, some of them are a little more flimsy. Okay, so this one is one that when I took one of those online quizzes where, and I don't remember exactly what the quiz was, but it was one of those where it determines the book that a book that's fit for you, a book that you should read because, your personality would fit, or like, I wish I remember why, because it's not a book I would expect, but, to be on my, normally wouldn't be on my radar, and that is Truman Capote's In Cold Blood. And this guy was friends with Harper Lee, and apparently, and I opened it to look at the dedication because sometimes my intention wasn't to look at the dedication, it was just to look. I was looking through the book, but apparently it's for someone named Jack Dunphy in Harper Lee. It's dedicated to Harper Lee, so I thought that was really cool. So I knew that they were friends. And the woman at the register was telling me this is a really great book, and it's a really powerful book. But I actually remember hearing, I think it was Caroline Marie had talked about how great this book was, and she loved it and everything, and but it says, on November 15th, 1959, in the small town of Holcomb, Kansas, 4 members of the Clutter family were savagely murdered by blast from a shotgun held a few inches from their faces. There was no apparent motive for the crime, and there was almost no clues. As Truman Capote reconstructs the murder and the investigation that led to the capture, trial, and execution of the killers, he generates both memorizing suspense and astonishing empathy. In Cold Blood is a work that transcends its moment, yielding poignant insights into the nature of American violence. So it's kind of so I guess in a way it's kind of just, would you say it's true crime? Kind of? Although it's I guess this would be kind of a true crime, and I do find myself kind of intrigued by that genre. I know a lot of people have criticized it's come under scrutiny and criticism lately because it's so, it's glorifying the killers in a way, the people who committed the crime, which, you know, it's a crime, it's more immoral, and we should, and like, if there's a victim, then we should kind of focus on, because we like ignore them. We don't even know some of their names of we don't know the names of victims. But I thought it sounded, you know, I thought I'd try it, and it's also like, it's kind of different from what I usually read. I mean, I've read true crime before, but not very often, so I'm kind of excited to read this. I'm intrigued. Oh, and I didn't read the back of this because it's not book 1. It's the only reason why I haven't read the back of this one. I mean, I've, like, read a little bit of it, but not to you guys, because it's, like I said, it's book 2. So I feel like it could potentially, you know. So I feel like it wouldn't make sense. Put that there. And the third and final book is Washington Spies, the story of America's first spy ring. So I enjoy the show Turn. I still have not finished it. Every time I start to watch it, I take a break, and then it's no longer on the streaming service, at least not for free, which is a pain. So, but this is the book that the show is based on. Basing his tale on remarkable original research, historian Alexander Rose reveals the unforgettable story of the spy ring that helped America win the Revolutionary War. For the first time, Rose takes us beyond the battlefront into the shadowy underworld of the double agents and triple crosses, covert operations, and code breaking, and unmask the courageous, flawed individuals who inhabit the wilderness of mirrors, including the spy master at the heart of it all, George Washington. Which I thought that's so cool that he created this spy ring. It's like, it's so cool and so fascinating that he did this. And like I said, I remember liking the show. You know, and I hadn't, you know, and I knew there was a book, but I hadn't gotten it. So finally I have it, which I'll just take it. I'll just see if it's on any of my lists and take this off my list. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this. You know, learn about the spy ring. And like I said, I've already watched some of the show. I've just never finished it. I do have it on my wish list, so maybe I'll get it someday and be able to watch it once I've read the book. So that's my latest purchase. Like I said, and so I will have another book haul. Because like I said, I did order 3 more books, which part of me feels a little guilty that I got 3 instead of, because, you know, I originally intended to get the 1 book from the series, and I was like, my excuse was, oh, well, maybe I should get book 3 as well, so I can just jump into book 3, but then it's like, I should get the other book. And also, you know, with their books, they get you by, like, reminding you, if you spend this much, it will be tax-free, or, oh, you can get even better price if you, you know, look for deals, and one in the Ross Poldark was a deal, so I have to check. But anyway, so that's what's going on right now in my reading. And I do want to do, because I have talked about before, doing a video where I talk about characters and my amateur analysis of them. And I say amateur because I'm not a psychologist. I didn't study psychology. I just took a class once. But I kind of want to do videos again, because I've done it before where I've talked about characters and my opinions on them and everything, and not just, like I said, I can't do a real professional look at the characters, but I wanted to do like a discussion of them and my thoughts on them. And I was thinking, I've been wanting to do one, and I thought about doing Quentin Coldwater from the Magician series, but then part of me was like, well, maybe I should read off the books 2 and 3 first before I do that video. Which hopefully will motivate me to start book 2. but I keep thinking I want to do some other kind of video, like, but literature related. But I always have trouble coming up with ideas because I don't want you guys to get bored, and I don't want to. But like I said, I don't know. So I'm still trying to think of some people to, characters to look at and everything. But anyway, that's how my reading is going. So anyway, I'm gonna do that hopefully I'll do that at some point. But anyway, so that's how my reading is going right now. I'm kind of like not really focusing too much. I mean, I've read Listen to Your Sister by Nina Vale, which is it's a debut and it's a horror book. And it's really good, by the way. It's like, actually, maybe that's what I should do. I should do a review of that. But anyway, and also, I did my review I'm working on my written review for, I don't know if I published it or not. I need to look and see if I, been published. I think I might have already posted it. But I did my written review for horror movie. And so that's what I'm reading horror-wise. Those are the books I'm read horror story-wise. But I'm kind of like just trying not to force horror or Victorian novels on myself right now. Instead of like, and when it comes to horror, I watch movies anyway around this time of year, so. And as like with what Mike from Mike's book reviews has said, that I want to, like him, I want to make horror or something I read all year round. I just haven't gone to that yet. But I hope to pursue, work on that and make sure I read a horror book every month or something. Yes. But like I said, I'm trying to expand and go beyond Stephen King also. But so that is, like I said, again, that's how my reading is going. I hope you are enjoying your own reading. And I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye.